another episode of The Purpose Show. We are in 2024, so it's a brand new season. Welcome. And I know you are up for a fun time this season with all our guests who span from all over the globe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm your host, Lisa Ann Clark, the purpose coach and author of Purpose, a blueprint to accomplishing God's plan for your life. Throughout our former episodes, we have interviewed some interesting personalities, including the elder man in Milwaukee, David Bowen. We have interviewed local personnel such as Roger Curlew, Bishop Steve Blair, several personalities on purpose. And this year, we will again interview some persons from the virtual book tour, as well as a few hidden Jamaican, I call them stars, because of the things that they do, even though they may not be popular. So we're going to be showcasing some hidden gems this year. And as such, today we have a hidden gem as well as our guest. And she is located all the way over the other side of the globe, right? She is in the East. Now, for those of you who are watching for the first time, for the Purpose Show, this evolved from the Purpose book, right? This book was written in 2020. And I have been coming online speaking about purpose, unlocking purpose through prophetic intercession. And in our programs, from time to time, we will pray. So just to let you know, and to give some sort of strategic direction to hear what the Lord is saying regarding this individual that is being interviewed. We also have the purpose course as well that you can always subscribe to. It's on Thinkific, and it's a self-paced course that you can do in your own time. So without further ado, let's get to know our guest for today. Here we have a picture on the screen, and you're going to see her live and in living color in just a minute. Dr. Sophia Morgan is a dedicated educator from Jamaica with 17 years of experience, right? I'm not sure if this is experience in teaching or if it's experience as a career counselor. She's going to tell us later on what this 17-year experience involves. If it is her being an author, let us see. She believes in education as a means of playing field and empowering individuals. And she has authored an exciting new workbook to guide high school students in exploring careers aligned with their skills, their competencies, and passions, and in finding suitable post-secondary programs. Yes. So once you finish high school, if you want to know what are the international opportunities there are out there for college, or there is out there for college and scholarships and grants, she has created this book to help to guide you. We know sometimes there's confusion after you left school. You don't know what you're going to do. For me, when I was in high school, we had to choose our subjects really early. And I chose my subjects when I was 13 years old. Imagine that. 13 years old. So I did clothing and textile, I did geography, I did business, I did a mixture because I didn't know what I wanted to do. As far as I was concerned, there were many options. I said, you know what? I could be a fashion designer because I love to see those days they would show the drawings, some fashion design in the old Gleaner. I don't know if you're that young, Sophia, to know the days when fashion design used to come in the old Gleaner, in the Gleaner paper, right? So I said, okay, I could do fashion design. And then we used to do typing skills in those days using the old typewriter, right? not computer, the old typewriter. We used to do typewriting. And I said, they look so cute sitting around the typist desk and the chair and with the proper posture. Let me see if I can also do this skill. And at my school, each of us had to do, we had to learn a skill otherwise. So I did clothing and textile. And then we had the mandatory subjects of history. At the time, the only option would have been to be a history teacher or study archaeology. You just don't know what to do. When I ended up leaving school, I ended up going into banking. It had nothing to do with any of the subjects that I studied. Right? So, right. But fortunately, the foundation in business, in office preparation, the office practice course, and the typewriting, that helped me to be proficient in learning IT, information technology. I was very good with computing, right? And that now led me to do teaching. How about you? You're going to tell me about how you wrote this book, how you end up, by the way, she is located in China. She needs to let us, the viewers, understand how she ended up all the way in China to become a principal of an international school, right? So, Dr. Sophia Morgan, let me stop sharing screen for a minute so I can speak, right? Principal, I'm so excited to know that she's a Jamaican, but she is a principal. She has raised the bar and she's flying Jamaican flag high all the way over there in China. I thought those positions would have been selected for nationals, for Chinese nationals. But here we see, no, just like all the Chinese can come to Jamaica and they can be in construction and engineering, we can pave the way in teaching as Jamaicans living in China. Now, a little bit about Sophia. Sophia Morgan is an experienced educator. She has a strong background in curriculum development, teacher training and educational leadership. She holds a Doctor of Education in Curriculum and Instruction from the American College of Education, an MBA in Corporate Finance from Walden University. Wow, she's good with numbers too. And degrees in maths and computer science from the University of the West Indies. This is telling you that she's a very brilliant lady, right? And the University of Technology, Jamaica. She is well trained, she is versatile. Sophia has served in various educational roles, including as an educational coordinator and curriculum writer at the Maple Leaf International School in Wuhan, China, and is currently a school principal at the foreign national schools in Yiwu, China. She has created programs for Asian English as a second language learners and support a diverse student-teacher population. Now, beyond the classroom, she's committed to career development. She don't have to do, remember, she works during the week in teaching, in education. She don't have to do this, but this is her passion. She has authored this book and she wants to help us. She wants us to know what she has learned during her years of traveling and the community service that she offered. What has she learned? She's linking China, Jamaica, US, and who knows how many other countries. She's currently working on adapting and refurbishing her primary school, Williamsfield All Age, by updating its library and creating a hands-on workshop for students. She is a former student of, and I want her to tell me the high school that she's a former student of, because I am sure that her schoolmates all the way from the parish of Westmoreland would be extremely proud of her right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Sophia. Sophia, say hello to our viewers.
Hey, hi everyone. What an introduction, eh?
Yes. A mouthful. And you have made us proud with all your accolades, your certification, and just the work, just knowing that you're over there, right? Raising the bar and flying the Jamaican flag makes me excited. That alone makes me excited, right? Tell us, which school did you attend in high school did you attend in Westmoreland?
So as you stated, I'm from Westmoreland and I went to Petersfield Comprehensive High School. So I think now it's just Petersfield High, but during my time it was Petersfield Comprehensive High School.
Wow, you have anybody
In
you want to say a shout out to in Jamaica?
oh God, maybe shows out whole of Jamaica, my friend them, and I cannot name them because I'm blessed with friends. That is one of my the favors I have in this life. I always meet good people, great friends. So I keep my friends. So I always don't list them, but all my friends know, and I have great friends. Of course, Petersfield High School, I want to big up my teacher, Mr. Hamilton. Ah, one of my favorite teachers, but I've had amazing teachers, you know. That's one of the other blessings I've had in this life. When I was a student at Williamsville All Age, I had good teachers, and it's not that it's always a pleasant experience with teachers, because you know Jamaican teacher of you.
Yes,
So,
true.
you know, I've had pleasant experiences with my teachers at Williamsville All Age School. That's one of the reasons I went back because it's a small school. I'm from Williamsville, a very rural, small community. My mother was a vendor at the school. So she used to sell, you know, snacks at the gate for the students. And so
Yes.
you understand how important that all age school was for me because it was an opportunity for my mother to earn, and then she would be able to take care of
Mhm.
us, her children. And then we went there as students. So the teachers and that community has just been amazing. Williamsfield community, that's where I'm from. Yes, if you're ever in Jamaica, visit Benta River right there. So me live just down the road from there. So
What's the name of the place? What river?
Benta River. It's very
Benta
famous.
River. I'm going to have to tour Jamaica because I've never heard of that place.
Listen, if you
Is
go to
the river
Westmoreland,
big?
it is bigger and very like you have a little falls, you go in, you swim. Listen, if you're in Jamaica and you have not been, just go. I know when you go to Westmoreland, you want to go to Negril or Bluefields, but just come down somewhere down the road, head up to Williamsfield. You're not gonna regret it. Amazing, amazing. And that is where I am from. I was fortunate enough to be raised in that community, small farming community. The school is the center of the community. A lot of things, a lot of initiatives came out of that small all-age school. Now it is now a primary school, so it just goes up from grades 1 to 6. But in
Yes,
my
yes,
time, it went all the way to grade 9, and we
yes.
had so much initiatives in that community. We had like little clubs. I remember when I was very young, um, maybe I was still in primary school and there was a math teacher. He had volunteered to be helping the teens in my community. And they were teaching, he was teaching them quadratic equation. And I couldn't believe it. I was with my sister because I'm number two of my mom's kids. So my sister, she's 4 years older, but I went with her to class and the teacher was teaching the quadratic equation, and you know, I had my little pen and pencil, paper and pencil, and I was understanding. I couldn't believe it. And
Yes.
I was learning. I've always loved school. School has always been a happy place for me. And when I went to Petersfield High School, same thing. A lot of teachers invested in me as a young girl. My teacher, Mr. Hamilton, I remember him having lessons, and he
Mhm.
invited me, always willing to teach. I did math in grade 10, and he was
Wow.
an instrumental person in that. When I was in grade 9, he selected a few of us and said he wanted us to try. And he spent a lot of hours teaching
Wow.
us, getting us ready. And yeah, so school has always been my happy place. I love school.
Wow. Back in my days, we had to wait until we reach grade 11 to do CXC. And
Yes,
but
yes,
what a
yes,
wonderful opportunity and start that you got at that place. Nowhere no better
yes.
than yard, you
All
know.
right,
And I'm
Jamaica
so
is good.
happy that you acknowledge your foundation because it is where you're coming from who makes you who you are today, as well as your drive and your tenacity and how you see
Yeah.
life, right? You are a purposeful individual. On this purposeful, this seasonal program, by the way, is geared towards highlighting purposeful individuals who have excelled in leadership, in community service, in a variety of different ways. They're good at what they do. You don't have to have a lot of qualifications, but
No.
you must be outstanding in what you do. So if you're a housekeeper, you're a housekeeper and you're an excellent housekeeper. And that's how we do it here. I'm so
Yeah.
excited and I'm happy to learn about your background. Now, tell me something. What is it about this book? I want to know what inspired you to write this book and where you see this book going. Tell us a little bit more about the book and why did you join the virtual book tour this year in 2024?
All right, so I wrote this book. It's funny, this book, I started working on it during COVID. So during 2020, when as you read my bio, I was living and working in Wuhan, and I had just come to China. So I came to China October, and by October 2019, and then by January 2020, we were locked down in
And that's
Wuhan,
where it
right?
started. That's where
And
everything
yeah,
started.
that is where
Mm.
everything started. So my son and I just relocated from the US to China. And in China, we have Spring Festival, which is Chinese New Year. And so we're just on that break. And as soon as we went on the break, we went into lockdown. So I said to myself, okay, it was a bit overwhelming initially, but then what COVID provided me with was time. So, our lives get busy. So there are lots of things that we want to do, but we don't do because we just don't have the time. So during the lockdown, what I found myself with was that one commodity that we never have enough of was time. So I said, okay, what am I going to do with this time? I was doing my doctoral studies at the time, but you spend so much of your hours inside. And so I needed a way to occupy my time in a productive way. So I was doing my studies. We were off on holidays. So like I said, all I had during this time was time. And so I started reflecting on, where is it that I'm looking to go with my career? And during my time as a teacher in the US, one of the things I thought the schools did amazingly was prepare students for post-secondary studies. I taught at a small rural school, and one
Mhm.
thing I loved is that every single student, you come to high school in grade 9, and when you get to grade 12, everyone had a post-secondary plan. And
Wow.
then I
Mhm.
reflected on myself as a teen in Jamaica. When I was finished with high school, I had a post-secondary plan, but I didn't access this at school. I actually accessed it through my family because I'm fortunate enough to have my family were generally very educated. So I had my aunt, I'm very close with her, Rowena Boddington. If you know me, I'll call her auntie. And if you're a friend of mine, you also call her auntie. That's how close we are. And so she was instrumental in having a plan for us after high school. And that is why I wanted to create this book, because I wanted it to be something that the average child, I didn't want it to be an expensive resource. I wanted it to be universal enough that it doesn't matter where you're from, which country, which high school you're in, which university you're looking to go, which career. I needed it to be general so everyone is able to have this tool that a young person who is trying to figure out their life can have this support. And so that is why I wrote the book. I wrote the book really thinking about Jamaica and the Jamaican student and the fact that they may not be able to access these resources. Because I noticed it even when I came here to China. We teach at a prominent private school, and these resources are available to kids. So these students are able to gain access to an academic advisor, someone who talks them through what is it that you want to do after high school, but not in an intimidating way, in a way where they're comfortable. They can say, oh, I want to be an accountant, or I don't know, maybe an engineer. They're comfortable, the place is provided for them. And education means a lot to me. So as you can see, I'm well schooled. And I believe it is because of my schooling that I'm able to access certain things in life. And so I wanted to be able to give that gift back to my community.
So it's like some guidance counselors do this. They do have programs for children up to fifth form. I don't think it is in all schools, right? We
Yes,
had back in the days, I know we had some guidance council session, but we didn't do career planning. I didn't get exposed to a career development plan until I was teaching at Heart Trust.
yes.
Yeah. Not even
And
when I was teaching as a high school teacher, we had a public school teacher in Jamaica, we had anything like that. Heart Trust was what introduced me to a career development plan. I'm going to give them credit, right?
yeah. And
And
if
I see
exist
now,
in a
though,
school,
my child is going to a prominent high school in Kingston. Unfortunately, they are privileged to get access to this information that the rural schools don't have. Like
thank
the
you. Yeah.
organizations that do SATs come to their
Yes,
schools from a fifth form orientation, and they introduce them to the available opportunities out there, and many
yes,
schools don't get that. Fortunately for the internet and even COVID allowed a lot of information now to be disseminated that students wouldn't have access to prior to COVID.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I believe this is an excellent resource. There was a blue book that was being sold in the bookstores called For Career Development, and it does have some information regarding the local colleges. But many of our students don't want to study in Jamaica. You want to know what are the opportunities there. Do I have to do SAT? Can I do ACT? If so, what is ACT? You understand? What is the
Exactly.
score? What's the
Yes,
difference? Which one is easier? Which do I have to go to 12 and 13 grade in Jamaica to be able to study abroad? And
exactly.
that's the impression we get here. Isn't
Yes.
that so? Right.
And yeah. And a lot of these information or these tools, we have to remember, like, for example, I went to a non-traditional high school in Jamaica. I'm also, I usually don't use this phrase to reference myself
Mm-hmm.
as a child of poverty, because I mean, what does poverty really mean? You
Mm-hmm.
know? But I'm using that term to say we didn't have
Lack.
access to a lot of financial resources, but
Mm-hmm.
by no way did I grow up in a poor situation. You know, my mom did all she needed to do with the resources that she had
She
access
had.
to,
Mm-hmm.
and she took care of us with the resources that she had. But when you don't have access to financial resources, then there's a limit, there are limitations that's placed on you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have someone to show you that you can, in fact, access these things without the financial resources. So take, for example, myself, I went to teachers college pretty young. And that was one of the best recommendations my aunt made for us. My sister and I went to college in the same time. So in 1 year, my mom had both her girls graduating from teachers college. So she attended two graduation in like a short period, which was kind of cool. So
Mm-hmm.
what happened when I have two first degrees, but one of those first degrees was actually fully paid for by the government of Jamaica.
Wow.
And is again resources that you don't know that it's available if you're not in the right space. And
True.
then even when I was doing my degree at UTech, I got access to a lot of grants and bursaries that made my helped me financially. And so by the time I was finished and I was ready to do my master's degree, I had already figured how to access funds to supplement my studies. And a lot of those resources are available. But if you're not in the right space or looking at the right place, you won't find it. And a lot
I
of these
believe
resources,
you.
I
It cost
shipped
me
a lot of
12,000
things.
US to study in Jamaica for my master's degree. Here about.
Yes. And we need to know how to find these resources and be able to leverage what is available. And a lot of our young people, especially if you are in the rural areas, where a lot of places still we don't have access. That is the thing. It's not that we lack potential. The potential is there, but you just don't have access to what you need in order to become your best self.
Right. Wow. Tell me something. What does purpose mean to you?
For me, I was sharing with some kids recently because I was in Shanghai. The principal from that campus invited me to share with her grade 12 cohort. And I was talking with the kids about purpose and finding out, why am I here? All of us ask this question. And I believe that your purpose is the answer to that question. And it's saying, what is it that I will contribute in my small space? So it's not about necessarily everyone knowing what you're doing, but the people who need to access you are able to access to benefit from your purpose. For me, I believe my purpose is to be a help. I consider myself a helper. I say that my teachers sometimes they were like, "Oh, Dr. Morgan, you're always looking to help," because I think that is my role in any space that I'm in. I believe I'm a helper in helping anyone maximizing their own potential. So I am not going to tell you what your potential is. That is something that you find within. My responsibility is to be able to help you in any way. It could be very small. Like sometimes with my teachers, they think it's funny if they are maybe cleaning their classroom and I'm walking by and then I'll stop to help because I feel like if I'm able to help them in this way, then they can access their purpose, which is to be an amazing educator to my students. And
Mhm.
that's what I can do at that time. So that's what purpose means to me, finding something that helps you to figure out, why am I here and how can I contribute in my small space? If my contribution is big enough that my small space becomes a big space, sure. But in this small space, I'm making my contribution.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You are such an interesting person, and I love the fact that you display servant leadership and you coach your staff. There are many leaders who are just dictatorial, but you coach, and you support. And I love that. I love that because we can learn from our leaders that way, and we can cooperate and work, in a humble manner. There are many who are not humble when they have titles such as yours, Dr. Morgan. You know that, right? Especially here. But you
Yes.
are doing an amazing job so far, and I'm so happy. Now, do you have a copy of that book? Can just hold up for us to see the name of the
Yes,
book?
I do. I do. But it's not showing. I think I need to change
Oh,
my
because
back.
of the background. Hold
Yes, so
on. Try it again. I
I
saw
will
this a
take a
little
minute.
gray.
I'll take a minute to change my background,
Or if
but
you
I
have a
will.
picture, just share it. I'll allow you to share your screen.
I'm gonna adjust my background so that I can
Okay.
share the book. but I want to talk about my book and how blessed I am with friends. I told you that earlier, right?
You told me
That
you're blessed with friends, but
I
before
am.
you
I am.
before you tell me you're blessed with friends, did you have any hindrance to achieving the purpose that you're operating in now, as well as creating this book?
Oh, yes, I had a hindrance. So I will share this story with you in a short while. But one of the things that happened to me when I started writing this book in COVID. So here it is. I was able to figure it out. But this is the cover of the book. And I'll tell you how my friends helped me to be able to achieve this. I'll talk about that in a short while.
Wow, it's a big book. It looks like
Yes,
a textbook, the high
yes,
schooler's guide for
yes, and it's
college.
a reader book, very, very student friendly. Oh, here, yeah. So very, very student friendly. I prepared it so that the kids are able to kind of journal their way through. And
Okay.
there's lots of, so if you notice, it's just spaces for them to make sense of who
Yes.
they are. Because
Yeah.
as young people, it's our young people nowadays, and if we're not careful, they are not quite sure of who they are. Sometimes they're not accustomed to sitting with themselves and figuring out, okay, who am I? What is it that I want? What do I want to achieve? And this workbook kind of forces them to do this because it's about them. It's not about what your parents want. It's not about what you're seeing on social media. It's about you and how is it that your unique skills you're going to be able to contribute in your space. And this is what this kind of workbook forces our young people to do.
Is there any aptitude test in it or rating scale or so for one skill? Hold on.
It points them to the resources to be able to do that. So for example, one of the things that I do is I curate the resources that they need. So for example, how do you decide which career fits you? Where do you go? How do you start that? There are lots of online tools that helps you to make sense of this. So what I've done for our young people is first, I help them understand what a skill is, what its competence is, what's a passion. Not everything that you enjoy doing can you monetize. And our young people, they don't know this. So for example, they may like playing games. Like my son loves to play games and he'll say to me, oh, he's 10. Oh, mommy, I want to play games. I want to be a gamer. Okay, sure, sweetheart. What does that mean? And do you know what it takes to be a gamer? Just because you enjoy playing games doesn't mean that you have the aptitude or what it takes to be a successful gamer. Now, as parents, we would shut the child down immediately to say, oh, foolishness, what is that? No. So what the workbook do is give them that talk and help them to come to that conclusion by themselves. So sure, you may be good at it, but how can you monetize this? And the workbook walks them through and then help them to come to the right conclusion. At the end, it could be like, yeah, you have what it takes to be successful and to monetize this skill. But maybe this skill can just be a hobby. And that's okay. And then you can move on to what is it that you can actually monetize.
Well, is this book available in any bookstores in Jamaica?
Not yet. So, as you know, I'm living and working in China. So, I've published on Amazon. I've reached out to a number of bookstores in Jamaica, but I'm not in Jamaica. But I'll be there in the summertime. And in the summertime, I reach out to the bookstores, share with them, because of course it's a new resource. And so we have to let them know that, hey, this resource is available for young people. Give it a chance in your bookstore so young people can access it. It is available in a bookstore in Nigeria. So I'll share that with you.
Nice.
Luckily for me, one young lady who manages Amina, I think you probably have met her. She helps me to manage my social media, and she has helped me because of this need for career and college planning is not limited to Jamaica. I didn't even recognize that the need was so wide. And so when I'm working with her, of course, I'm just thinking about Jamaica because as a Jamaican, you want to help Jamaica.
Yes.
All of us, it's like it's in us. We want to do everything better for Jamaica. And she's saying to me, she said, Dr. Morgan, let us consider other places. I'm like, well, I prepared my book for Jamaica, but okay. So, and again, when I prepared the book too, I was intentional about that it wouldn't exclude any group of person because of where they're from. And she was the one who pointed that out to me to say, remember, when you wrote the book, you wrote it so that it would plug and play in any country, anywhere you're from, any college you want to go, any course, and it's fine, it works. So she negotiated with me, helped me to communicate with a bookstore in Nigeria because that's where she's from, and they are now having it in their bookstore.
That's
And another,
wonderful.
yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah.
But
And another,
even though you're there, let me tell you a way that you can do it. You can email the local bookstores here and send a copy to them. They'll review the copy that you have and then respond, and then you can always send it out bulk. So even though you're in China, still reach out to them
yes,
by
I
email.
will, I will definitely do that. And as you asked about hindrance, I think it's as your show is, the purposeful podcast. And I started writing this book in 2020. And I remember I was just putting it together. I knew what I wanted it to be. I knew I wanted it to be a workbook. I wanted it to be student friendly. I wanted it to be nice for young people to use. But again, I did all the work to get my idea as to what I wanted the book to be. And then it was about, I have a friend, her name is Crystal Day, and she's actually the publisher from Daylight Publisher.
Yes, I've
So
heard that name.
yeah, so she's actually my very good friend. And so I contacted her then and I spoke to her just to give me some feedback because she's publishing books. I needed her expertise. And she gave me some feedback. So she gave me her feedback 2020. And so I made note of it and I actually sat on that feedback for maybe 3 years. Yes. So I sat on the feedback because right after we went from lockdown, and during lockdown was when I got my first leadership position at my school. So I did the interview on Zoom and everything. I was the academic advisor, and the draft of my book I actually shared it with the principal and vice principal at the time, because this is what I would be doing with the students at my school, giving them academic advising, helping them figure out where they want to go to study. And these are for my Chinese students. So when I got this role and we transitioned out of COVID to face-to-face instruction, oh, I had a lot of work to do, plus I was doing my doctoral studies at the time. And so I actually stopped working on the book. I just left it. I said, oh, I'm not going to be able to finish this book properly. And so I sat with the feedback. I was just working, busy because we were coming out of COVID. Lots of students to take care of, teachers to take care of. Some of our teachers were stuck overseas. It was just a lot in that time, and I needed to study. And so I actually never completed the book until when I was finished with my defense. I finished my defense in December 2022. Yeah, 2022. And I knew once I was finished with my defense, I would use all of the holiday to finish the book. And so we're off on 5 weeks break. And I said, for these 5 weeks, I'm not going to travel. And I love to travel all around China once it's holiday. But I sat at my computer and I was fixing and going through. I had an editor, everyone. So there are lots of hindrances, but none of which that would deter me from the big goal. And I think that's so important that we remember when we're living a purposeful life, that there are things that are going to come up and you can adjust your plans. You can make changes, but the key thing is not to is always remember where you're going. Don't forget that. So for me, I just adjusted and made sure that I knew I wanted this to be the end product. So I never forgot about the ending in mind. Yeah.
No matter what you're doing, no matter where you're going, we will always have some sort of obstacles. It tests
Yes.
our faith, it gives us tenacity, perseverance, and we get to see our strength in the midst of all this. And so too is it with purpose. We're all created for something. What is that something? What is your purpose? Do you know your purpose? Your purpose may not be one thing. For nobody, I do not believe, and based on what I've been taught, that purpose is one thing. It is a collective. The things that you do, the passion that you have, what you were created to do, who you're created to help, as well as some
Yeah.
other spiritual things. And we're going to get into that in just a moment as we're up to our break. So stick and stay with us for a moment as we share from our sponsors and share some information with you. For all your home health aid needs. Visit the Gentle Care Nursing Service. They're a home health care agency based in the United States, but you can always call them for wherever you are for advice. They train, they provide care for the young, the elderly, they do shopping for their clients, companions, CNAs, HAA service. They provide on an hourly or even on a live-in basis. They train family members as well to care for their loved ones. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember, if you want some support, and so many persons need support, not just for special needs children, but for the elderly, you don't know when sickness may come or when something like COVID may happen. So always be prepared. Think of Gentle Care Nursing Service, www.gentlecns.com, or you can call them at 215-927-0958. I also want to remind you that that the Purpose Show is brought to you by the Creative Biz Coach. We do a lot if you want help to publish your book independently, help to do book covers. We also do consultancy and coaching. Contact us. There's so much within you. I'm sure you may have an idea, something you want to express, something you want to get out there. You're not sure how to do it. We offer typing services as well. We do purpose development. We do coaching. We do spiritual unlocking. There is a course that is also offered. We help in generating ministry ideas and business ideas. And if you need support for your business and marketing plans, feel free to support us at the Creative Biz Coach, especially women in ministry and women who are in business. That's a particular niche. We're also here to support persons who are interested in tourism, specific tourism niches in Jamaica. Contact us. And I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our social media page on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as on YouTube. For YouTube, it's Holistic Healing Ministries Jamaica. Our handle is there on the screen, Holistic Healing Ministries J6758. For Instagram, it's the Jamaican Dragon Slayer. Yes, on Facebook, you can type in my name, Lisa Ann Clarke. It's right there on the book cover that you can see to the right, Lisa Ann Clarke. And you can also see what we have to offer on the link below at bizcoachacademy.aweb.page. We have our information there as well as on Thinkific. There's also souvenirs with Jamaican scenery, souvenirs with ministry-related passages, inspirational quotes, and different products on our Printify site. We have a Printify site up for those who are, this is new for this season, people. If you visit visiontours.printify.me, you'll see your wonderful products. We have over 100 products on Printify. So please support it. It is also a part of the ministry. And as usual, you can get the Purpose book on Amazon. And we have many, many more books on Amazon. Our latest release is called Descendants. And that is a history and tourism book. It shares a lot of pictures of old Jamaica. It speaks about several families in Jamaica, the Walkers, the Lynch, the Leslies, the Satchels. The title is Descendants, and it highlights communities such as Contant Spring, Rock Hall, Swain Spring, Padmore, Salisbury Plain, Parks Road, Above Rocks, Glen Golf, Stony Hill, Lacey, Two Rivers. There are pictures as well. There's a picture of Mr. Park's old shop and the river that is right there at Two River Bridge, as well as the new venue space that is there by Mr. Phillips. I encourage you to support our history and tourism book because there is so much about Jamaica. You might live in Jamaica, but you don't know about these things in Jamaica. We also write about the parish of St. Mary, which is a hidden treasure, has many rivers, has even a castle. I wrote about that in the book. So St. Mary, Portland, and other places. So please support. That's the Amazon link below, amazon.com, Lisa-Ann-Clarke /author /BOHCS1239P. So that's it. Thank you very much. Let's get back to segment 2 as we wrap up on the Purpose Show for this episode. Now, are you ready? I want you to tell me this. How important is family support for you to enable you to do what you do?
Family support, it's important, it's critical. You know, for me, I'm from a large family, so I don't know if you know the Boddingtons, and that's my mom's side of family, and then the Morgans, that's my second side of family. And so one of the things that has been good for me, my aunt Rowena Boddington, she has really been a force in our lives as her nieces and nephews. She really has poured a lot into even myself. I can speak for myself, and I'm sure my cousins and sisters, they will also echo what I will share about my aunt with you. So, and I'll just give you just a quick example. You know, my mom, she was a vendor at the primary school, and that's her job. She's always done that, you know, sell things to be able to take care of us. And one of the things my aunt did for us was she sent us to Teachers College. And she did that while she was going to law school. So I shared with you earlier that my sister and I went to Teachers College together. I went to Case in Portland, and then my sister went to St. Joseph in Kingston. And she sent us to college, as in paid our tuition, everything, while she was in law school at the same time. So imagine she was paying maybe 3 tertiary tuition by herself with all of us. Actually did that for 2 years because you know her law she was doing her, what is it, the practicing certification. I don't know if I'm using the correct term, but
at Norman Manley.
at Norman Manley. So she was at Norman Manley. And so she graduated in 2004 and we graduated in 2005. So just to give you an idea of the sacrifice that she has made at that time to be able to fund us. And we never had to take student loan. She made this sacrifice to make sure that when we were finished with college, we didn't have a debt. And then my first year of university, when I went to UTech, she also paid the fees to get me started. And that also
Wow.
made me needing to take again funding. So I've been blessed in this way where she really sacrificed a lot to be able to give us access to this life that we're able to access to. And she educated us. And not only did she pour in financially, her time and my family has done that beautifully. When I moved to I moved to America with an 8-month-old baby, and both of my aunts followed me. So when I went, yeah, they came because I went 1 week before my son, and then they both came with Morgan. So they took Morgan to me in South Carolina. And one of them stayed for 2 weeks, and the other one stayed for a month. So it made the transitioning in that country easier
Smoother for you.
because I was scared with a new baby, taking them to daycare. They were there helping me to look for the daycare, figure out which one is a good one. And so my family has just been there for me. My uncle, Dalton Boddington, he paid for my first course when I was doing my master's degree. He made that sacrifice again, and I was a young adult to get me started, just to help to make sure that, I felt supported. So family support is critical, and your community, the people you adopt as your family, your friends. My friends have been blessed with amazing friends. So if they're listening now, they'll see because I'll share brag about my friends for 2 minutes. So like the book cover here for my book
Yes.
was designed by my friend Dion. We met when I was a teacher at Montego Bay Community College. And so she's living in Canada, and I called her to say, I'm finished with my book, and she has a way of understanding what I need. She understands what's in my mind. And she's an artist, so she's able to take what's in my mind to make it into what I want. So I remember telling her I needed something with the light bulb, like boom, it's an idea. And she said, okay. And then she was able to design this cover for me. Inside of my book, there are some pictures along the way that shows young people that you are able to make it. And all these photos were taken for me by another friend, Mallory. He took the time, went across Jamaica, and snapped photos across Jamaica for me so that I could put it in my book. And I also have quotes along the way. And my aunt Rowena again took her time. She gave me a long list of quotes that resonated with her, and I was able to put it in my book. So everything here, everything, that support is critical for success. It's very important.
Wow. Any last tips on purpose and career choice, just for 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna go into the prophetic session and wrap up
Okay, so for me, I think one of the things with purpose, and I'm learning that too, sometimes your purpose can intimidate you. Like, you're supposed to do something for your community. That is something I'm going through now. So like for me, as you stated, I'm a principal in a foreign country.
Mm-hmm.
And being a principal, even in your own country, it's a lot of responsibility, and you're always on display. And so it becomes a bit overwhelming sometimes because you feel that you feel pressure. Everyone is looking at you. You know what you are, you know what you represent, and it can become a bit intimidating. So my recommendation for your purpose is this one. It is a lot. Sometimes I'd say to myself when I'm having a bad day at work, I would say this, I say this a lot, like, who sent me? Why am I on this journey? But it is our responsibility to lean into our purpose, even when you're afraid. And do it even when you are scared. That is my suggestion. even when your voice is shaking, still state your opinion. And just understand that that is what you're supposed to do, even if it feels like a lot. And you get that feeling in your chest where you're like,
Even if no one is
but just,
supporting you.
yes, and even when you are alone,
Even when you're
still
alone.
stand. Yes, still stand. And as long as you remain true to your purpose. So for me, my purpose, I believe my responsibility is to help. And so even when the conversation is difficult, but it helps my student, I will still have it. No matter what, I will still, and sometimes my voice will break because these are difficult conversations, and I will feel like, okay, it's easier not to have the conversation, but it is not fair to the people who depend on you. And so because you know this, you should just continue, lean into your purpose. And it's not easy. And when you look on to others who are walking in their purpose and they make it seem so easy, know that they too are afraid, but they are persevering, and that is the responsibility that you also have. So that is my last tip. Like I always say, things with a big smile.
Yes.
Even when it is hard, you just have to continue, and it will be okay. The bad moments, they don't last forever. They won't.
They won't last
They
forever. So you have to be so positive about it and know that you're
yeah.
doing what you're doing because you were created to do what you're doing.
Yes,
So
yes,
push on despite the
yes,
obstacles, despite the fear, despite the
yes.
loneliness. And I can tell you, you can get lonely,
It is
very
lonely.
lonely, especially when you alone have this particular vision, especially
Yes,
when you're novel and other persons don't understand what you're doing. It can get
yes,
very lonely. But
yes,
keep trying, keep pressing, no matter what, knowing that you have a special purpose and calling, and that one day
yes,
your work will pay off in the end.
yes.
And as
And if
such,
it's just one person, it's okay. Just
even if
one
it's
is
one person you reach, it's okay.
just
At least
one.
you'll have achieved your purpose to impact at least one person.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
sometimes it's not the numbers, but it's just how great an impact you have on that one person can open many doors for you. You
yes,
understand? So you
yes,
may be expecting to go into a big community, but having a significant impact on just one person.
yes. Just
When we were
one.
going to college, teachers college, or motto at UTech was to teach us to touch a life. You
Yes,
don't know whose life you will touch
yes,
and the significant impact you will have on them, the reach
yes,
and what will come out of it. So do what you're doing anyway, despite the
mhm,
naysayers. Do what you're
yes,
doing. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for this is a ministry in itself. I'm so proud, and
yes.
it's been a pleasure meeting you. Have you done any other interviews on the book tour? What's the tour like so far for you? I know we're just beginning.
Yeah, the tour has been good for me. Most important, what I love about the tour is meeting similar-minded persons, because in your space you can be there by yourself. And so you'd think that, oh, why must I have these ideas and dreams? Like I'm doing too much. But then when what I love about the tour is that I'm meeting persons who they understand understand me. I feel understood. Even though because I can be a bit quiet. So I'll just maybe be watching, reading a lot, not posting a lot. And it may seem as though I'm not engaged, but I read a lot the post. And what I love most is that it has created a space for similar-minded persons. You're able to learn. I'm learning so much just watching everyone talk about their path. Like I remember when I came to our the meeting we had earlier. It was last week, I think. And meeting different persons there, they made such a difference for me. Just hearing their stories, hearing how I forgot her name, but her tone,
Diana? I'm
Yes,
sorry?
and her passion. You know, I was like, wow, you know, she's letting you hear her. Listen, I am talking, and I love that. I learned a lot there. You know, saying, oh wow, you know, just putting. So that's what I love most about this tour. Being in a space with similar-minded persons, sharing their experiences, giving tips. That's the thing. When I met Jenny, I actually just saw her in a group posting about her book, and I had just released my book. And for me, my focus is really on my primary job. You know, I'm a school principal, and my job takes a lot of time. So when I published my book, I really didn't have any plans. I was like, oh, I'm happy I have my book, and you know, I was good. But when I met her and I saw how she was marketing her book, I reached out to her, and then I'm just learning a lot. So that's what I love most. And of course, thank Jenny for creating a space such as this for us as authors.
All right. So just 1 second.
That's okay.
All right. So where can we get your book?
So for my book, of course, you can access it on Amazon. That is where it is right now. As you've suggested to me, I will reach out to the different bookstores in Jamaica. Ideally, what I'd love is for this book to be available to all Jamaican students who are in grade 10. That is the year I recommend purchasing this book, grade 9, grade 10. And when they're starting to figure out, you know, what am I going to do after the comfort of high school? Because you know a lot of young people, when your parents are saying to you, listen, this is the best time of your life, you're like, what? It cannot be, but it truly is. And so after you're finished with high school, every student, that is my wish, that every student, no matter where you're from, when you're leaving the walls of high school, you have a post-secondary plan. And this doesn't have to be that you're planning to go to college. It doesn't have to be, but how are you going to adult? We have, as educators, we have this responsibility to our young people. When they leave high school, we should give them enough where they're able to navigate adulthood. And it's not going to be perfect, but they need a plan. At least they will veer off, but they can come back to the plan. So I think that is important.
Okay, so what we will do is to post your Amazon link along with the
Yes,
video so persons
yes.
can click in the description and access Amazon and wherever else you have the book available. All right, so let's hear if the Lord has anything to say about you in our prophetic decoration section, and then we close out.
Okay.
God, we thank you so much for this, your daughter, Sophia. We thank you for her purpose. We thank you, mighty God, that you have given her the wings of an eagle. Yes, Lord. As I see that even now that she is flying, she is representing you. She is representing you through service. She's representing you through kindness. She's representing you through the knowledge that is embedded within her. We thank you that you're for opening doors for Sophia as you are expanding her reach in this time and season globally, not just to the countries in which she will connect with on the tour, but post tour. We thank you that there are more books that are coming for Sophia and that this is just the beginning. We thank you for the network, the expansive network that will come through connecting with others on this tour. We thank you for the strategic work that she will do in China to help those in China as well as in the diaspora to help others to come to greatness. We thank you for her leadership skills, Lord, that you have given her. And we thank you for her passion for Jamaica. Yes, Lord. We thank you for her. We thank you for her passion for Jamaica. I can just see her smiling. As I close my eyes, I'm seeing her smiling and she's just bubbling with joy, representing our nation and the sharing about her experience in her homeland, Jamaica land that she loves. We thank you for the children that she is blessing. And we thank you, mighty God, that many will wonder because of her leadership skills and her capabilities. They will come to her and ask her why she is how she is, and that many lives will be changed. Thank you, Lord, that greatness is her portion and that leadership is a gift that you have given her. God has also given her the gift of science. There is many more explorations that she will do in the future, mighty God. And we thank you for those opportunities that will come for Sophia Morgan in the future. Bless her child and bless her extended family, Lord, especially her aunts and her mom, who she speaks so much about. I thank you, mighty God, that they are also agents of change and that they will help her to get distributions in Jamaican schools, in Jamaican offices. I'm seeing books in offices as well, as this will also help career development for students who just leave high school and they've entered into the working world, hard trainees as well. Not just those who are in high school, community college students. I thank you for the opportunity of this book being in college bookshops, Lord. We thank you. Great is your faithfulness. Continue to cover her and bless her. In your name we pray. Amen. Oh, Sophie, you're going into some big bookstores, man. College, I see college bookshelves, right? First year, whatever year it is, libraries, it will be a resource, right? So even though it might be a workbook, they can look on it and use it as an example and write in their journals, because many leave college and still confused. They just go because their parent want them to get a profession, right? I ended up teaching because I didn't want to teach. It was because of what happened in the industry. So I ended up teaching. Yeah. That wasn't my love. My love was always business. But I said with a business education degree, I can always go back to do that. It was a safe place in the midst of, the financial crisis in the 90s, right? But your book will enter into the nitty-gritty of rural Western Jamaica, up in a little London, in some hill and nook and crannies. And there are many who do not have modern facilities. I'm seeing somebody who say rural, this person is living in a rural community. They will benefit from this tool. I pray that you'll get sponsors, because this is what I'm seeing happening. For the less fortunate who need it, many of these books will be donated, not just purchased for sale. Many of these books will be donated for the communities, for the community groups, and for the less fortunate in these rural districts. And this is an awesome opportunity and venture. Social enterprise. This itself can turn into some sort of social enterprise. It's not just going out and giving food. This is food for the mind and food for the soul. Yes.
And education, that I believe I've said it, I'll say this to my students, that what I can tell you is what I have. And for me, being educated has provided me with a resource that has really changed my life. And I am fortunate, as you mentioned, my students, I work with foreign national students, a lot of kids from Middle Eastern countries, a lot of girls who you provide an example for them. So this is something it's very important to me, that I show them that by accessing education, they can take control of where their lives will go. And education is, you know, people will say, I will say this a lot, that education is still the road to success. So I will say that a lot because it is for a lot of us.
Yes. Well, we want to thank today our very special guest, Dr. Sophia Morgan. It's Dr. Sophia Morgan, a Jamaican in China. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. You're going to hear a lot more about Dr. Morgan. And follow us on the virtual book tour. So for
Thank
now,
you.
bye. Tune in. We have many, many more interviews coming up on the Purpose Show 2024.
Welcome to the World of Descendants, a captivating new book by Ann Clarke. Dive into the rich tapestry of families, history, and tourism in eastern Jamaica as you explore places like Above Rocks, Salisbury Plain, Glen Goff, Constant Spring, and Swain Spring. Discover the stories of families like the Satchels, Smiths, Baws, Leslies, and Lynchs as you unravel genealogy, geology, and hidden gems of local tourism sites. From historical churches to quaint schools, Descendants takes you on a journey through time and heritage. Join us in exploring communities like Red Hills, Rock Hall, Stony Hill, and Kingston, where every corner holds a piece of history waiting to be uncovered. Visit the beautiful parishes of Eastern St. Andrew, St. Mary, and Portland. Don't miss the opportunity to build your family tree using the planner and journal included in the book. Start your adventure today with Descendants and unlock the secrets of the past. Available on Amazon or email bizcoachja@gmail.com.
You